Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Thursday, May 21st. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which are trading low. We're down 0.21% this morning. We were higher, but the market's really focused on this new peace accord that's expected to be announced today out of Iran by Pakistan, and there's a lot of negative commentary coming out of Iran ahead of this announcement. So the market's really getting a little bit cautious. And, also we had a lot of earnings. There's a lot of corporate earnings releases that came out that are influencing the market this morning. And oil prices just spiked higher. They were flat. And then those reports came out of Iran, how they're planning to impose transit fees and tighter controls on cargo vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. They talked about uranium. I mean, that just caused oil prices to turn, and we're seeing oil prices spike this morning. On the economic calendar, you got initial jobless claims coming out, and those flash PMIs are due out after the opening bell. The jobless claims are due out before the opening bell, and flash PMIs after the opening bell. OpenAI expected to file that listing today or tomorrow. What's interesting here is Goldman Sachs won the listing for SpaceX. We'll see if they get the OpenAI one as well. But the U.S. announced $2 billion in grants to 9 different quantum computing firms. They're taking stakes as well. So this is a big story. You're seeing a rally in quantum stocks this morning. Also on the calendar today, you got a lot. It's another heavy day of shareholders meetings. You got Home Depot, you got ServiceNow, you got DuPont, Pinterest, Wayfair, Dropbox, all scheduled to hold shareholders meetings today. On the earnings front, we're seeing some gains in NVIDIA and YMM. Intuit, Walmart, NetEase, Deere, they're all trading lower after their earnings releases. After the bell today, you got Ross Stores, you got Dicker Outdoors, you got Workday, you got Zoom Communications. And then tomorrow morning, we got BJ's, BAH, Booz Allen, and ticker FRO. We're all set to report tomorrow morning. Okay, let's take a look at these European markets. And the European markets are showing red. They were flat to higher, but they have since turned. I mean, you look at the DAX, it's now down 0.6% or 150 points. You are seeing weakness in aerospace stocks. The FTSE down 0.45%. The CAC down 0.55%. PMI data came in weak out of France, really out of all of Europe. I mean, the higher energy prices is really causing and stoking inflation concerns. In the Asian markets were, most markets were higher, but, I'm going to call it mixed overall. The Nikkei had a fabulous day. It was up 3.14%. That's 1,879 points. And it was driven by, tech earnings and renewed optimism over the AI sector. But then you have the Hang Seng, which finished down 1%, 1.03%. And you have China, the Shanghai, finished down 2.04%. I mean, China's market did actually open up higher, but then it turned around and fell. And I mean, there are concerns of slowing economic momentum after the latest round of economic data that came out yesterday that's still influencing the markets. And, you also got to deal with the bond yields, which are rising, which is causing, some concerns on the financial sector in these two markets. Okay, let's take a quick peek at oil right now, see what we're doing. We get WTI up to $100.55 a barrel. That's up 2.33%. You got Brent trading at 106.87, up 1.76%. Now, oil was lower, but these Iranian stories about how enriched uranium must stay in the country and their plans to charge tolls, that's a bad indicator ahead of the expected peace proposal announcement that's expected out today. I mean, I think you're really backing President Trump into a corner, and that's not good. He's a cowboy, and he's going to do what's best for him. And their stance is not looking like they really want an end to this conflict. They're not big enough to take on the U.S., and every country around the world is not happy with them. Their neighbors feel Iran is a bully. And, you look at the Asian countries, they're not going to rebuke the U.S. because they need that waterway to be open and free of tolls. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on this situation. Okay, let's talk about earnings that have come out. First off, we're going to start off with Walmart. Walmart, ticker WMT, which is lower by 2.22% this morning. They only met expectations. They did it on higher revenue, but the guidance was not good, and that's what's causing the stock to pull back this morning. Then you have NVIDIA, NVDA, which is trading higher. I mean, it's trading, 223.5. They beat by 10 cents. They did it on higher revenue. But it's not a significant move as markets were expecting. But they did deliver a rather positive announcement. Then upcoming this afternoon, after the bell, we got Decker's Outdoor, ticker DECK. Their EPS is 81 cents. Expected move is 10.74%. You also have ZM, Zebra Michael, Zoom Communications. Their EPS is $1.41. Expected move is 9.08% for Zoom Communications, ticker ZM, when they release. Okay, let's talk about the economic reports. This morning before the bell, we got housing starts. We got jobless claims. So we got the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, all due out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then at 9:45 a.m., we get the PMI Composite. This is a flash report. This is for May, so we've got to keep an eye on that. At 12:20 p.m., we're going to hear from Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin as he will be speaking. Okay, let's take a look at these FANG stocks. And, we got to start off with Amazon, I guess, because, Kroger's CEO is out there and he plans to do a broad cut on prices to compete with Walmart, Costco, and Amazon. So, I don't think it's going to hurt Amazon any, but it's, their low prices are really, causing other retailers to react. Google, Meta, TikTok faces EU complaints over financial scam ads. That's not positive. Netflix is pushing further into live programming. They're taking a podcast and putting video to it to make it a live show. Interesting. They're going to continue with that live push into programming. Okay, let's talk Dow Jones 30s. IBM received $1 billion award for its quantum chip foundry. Good news. Goldman got confirmed as a SpaceX IPO as the lead underwriter. Now we got to hear about OpenAI when that comes out. They could get a twofer. In terms of guidance news, Walmart sees Q2 adjusted EPS 72 cents to 74 cents. Street estimate added at 75 cents. That's a downtick. AAP, Advanced Auto Parts, backs its 2026 adjusted EPS view 240 to 310. Street estimate has it at 280. Yeah, that's okay. AT&T reiterated all 2026 multi-year financial and operational guidance this morning. Shareholders meeting, HD, ServiceNow, DuPont, Pinterest, Wayfair, Dropbox, all holding shareholders meetings today. In terms of buyback news, NVIDIA's board approves an additional $80 billion to its share repurchasing authorization. Okay, let's talk about today's pick of the day. And, I'm going to go with Zoom Communications, ticker ZM, Zebra Michael. Earnings are due out after the bell. EPS is $1.41. Expected move is 9.08%. Yesterday's call volume, 9,071 calls versus 5,903 puts. That's positive. And open interest, 191K to 107K. Again, that's positive. And then you see the major brokers, they like the stock. They're raising price targets on it. So, but I think we're going to see some overall weakness in the market. I think that we could see a little bit of a pullback, and it could trade down to that 99 level. So I'll say 98.90 is an entry price. Hoping to get in a little bit of a discount. But I do like Zoom Communications on an earnings play today. Ticker ZM, Zebra Michael. Okay, let's look at some news hitting the tape this morning, see what we see. I have some news on KB Homes. Stellantis, they're going to launch Stellantis 1 in 2027. They're targeting 25% revenue growth in North America. They unveiled a 60 billion euro plan for a 5-year strategic plan. Interesting. Lilly had a drug meet primary endpoints, Triumph 1 study. NVIDIA's CFO projects $20 billion standalone CPU revenue. Anthropic sales set to reach $10.9 billion in June. It's a 130% surge over first quarter. Biorad, Elliott to engage Biorad on ways to boost stock price. Allstate for April reports estimated catastrophic losses at $870 million. It's not horrible. All right, that's all I'm seeing really this morning. Let's move on. Let's talk about our pick of the day from yesterday. And I was cautious here, and I called NVIDIA and VDA, and I was cautious on it but it was best of breed. And the fact of the matter is, the stock opened up at 223.10, and then it hit a high at 226.13. And you know us, we go for that 1%. That 1% was there. Now my entry price was 219.80, which it did hit in the aftermarket yesterday, and then it did bounce back to the 223 level. So either way, I mean, it was the 1% gain was there. But NVIDIA was a winner yesterday, so we got to put that in the W column. All right, traders, that concludes today's NewsWare's Trade Talk podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green today.